So here we are in step 5, update and remove, where the title is actually checking off and deleting tasks. So you create this new task.html file and a new task.js file. And all of a sudden, what else do you do? Oh, and you do a couple imports, and then all of a sudden, when you look at your to-do list, you've got these checkboxes and these deletions. So I can now not only add something, but I can also say, oh, it's been completed, and then it's got this little checkbox, and then you can actually get rid of it by clicking the thing. That's not, to me, I mean, that's kind of, that's fairly cool, but here's the thing that I think is glossed over. Okay, this whole thing about this, which, if you know anything about JavaScript, this is a very problematic object. Who knows what this is in general. And it gets even worse in Meteor. Okay, so I thought I'd spend a few seconds giving you a little more detail about this sentence right here, because this is really important to understand and kind of not obvious. At least to me, it wasn't. So what I think the best way to think about it is, let's start with task.js, and what you're seeing is in this event, okay. So the point is, right? So if we're here and we want to delete it or something, okay, we're going to click this thing, okay? So let's say we'll do the delete then. So we're going to click this to delete it, okay? Well, we know obviously that this is what's going to be called, and this is the line of code that will be called, because this, when we press that delete thing, we're going to do this task.remove this.id. But what does that really mean, that this.id, and how did we get it, and how does it know what it is? Okay, so let's back up a little bit and start with the body.html, okay, where we're listing all our tasks, and we say for each task, each thing in what is returned by invoking tasks, we're going to invoke that task template. So let's remind ourselves what tasks is by going here. What tasks is, it's a function that's going to return the result of this call. And what it's actually returning in like Mongo terms, when you call find, and that's all you call, you don't call chain it to fetch. When you just call find, you're returning what's known as a cursor to objects in this collection. And part of that's like super cool, all right, in the sense that this cursor can change as somebody else is updating the set of tasks in this collection. And because we're returning the cursor, that's part of the magic that enables Meteor to update the display automatically when something in the underlying database changes without you having to do refresh. It's the fact that what it's manipulating here, what our helper is returning, is a cursor into this collection called tasks, not the actual physical document. So if we called fetch, like right here, if we did this, things wouldn't work very well, because all of a sudden we're now returning the actual physical documents in that collection, but we're not doing that here. We're just returning a cursor. It's a symbolic representation of the documents in that collection. So anyway, that's what tasks returning, and for each of those task objects, we're going to call the task template, which is this thing, okay? And it's going to when that template is invoked, okay, it's going to say the value of this when that template is being run is the object, okay, that's returned by Mongo, okay, and all objects in Mongo have an underscore ID field, okay. So this is bound to the MongoDB object, all right, in that single task template. That's a single instance of a task that we're representing here. Okay, so when we're here, we're returning a cursor, which is a representation of all the task objects, the entire set of task objects. But then that's so when we're in when we're here, okay, it's all that task things is a cursor to all the documents in that collection. Once we enter this template, we are now referring to a specific document, okay, and that document is bound to this, and therefore by the time we get to here, we can get the underscore ID property of that object, which is a specific document in the tasks collection. And Mongo always assigns this field underscore ID to a unique ID, which we can use to call operations such as remove or update. Okay? Hopefully that makes things a little clearer to you. If not, I don't know. Start reading other things. Okay? The other thing that's going on here is we've got more import statements. So again, I think it's useful just to follow the chain, right? We start up here in the main. We're going to import body.js. Okay? In body.js, we're going to import this Meteor template, so we can call this. We're going to import tasks from API tasks, that's so we can refer to it down here, and also so that we literally invoke this code, okay, new Mongo collection.task. So that's how we actually get that task thing created. Okay, and then we're going to import the JavaScript task.js, okay, and that in turn, which is super weird but necessary, is going to import the HTML code. Okay, so you could have put that import statement and put it wherever we could have put it here too. For some reason, we're importing the body.html here because it's body.js, so there's a certain symmetry. So you can think of each template or each Meteor object as having an HTML file and an accompanying JavaScript file, or maybe a JavaScript file and an accompanying HTML file. And the imports, you can only do imports in JavaScript files. You can't do imports in HTML files. So we start with this JavaScript file, we import the body.js. Body.js needs the task HTML and task.js, so we import the task.js. It in turn is going to import its associated HTML file. Body.js always has to import its associated body.html file. So at the end of the day, all these suckers are getting imported, all four of them, as well as this one, all five of them. Okay? So that's how importing works. That's how this works. And hopefully that helps you understand what's going on and move on to the next step.